that I must have met you in a past life. Got my heart on the floor, go slow. Keep me falling for you all night. Tell me now, you're the one I've been dreaming about for my whole life. Had you on my mind, oh. Hear the sound of your voice in the crowd, calling my name, yeah, you captivate, oh. You captivate me. Cover me in a dream of love. You're pulling on my sanity, it does seem. I need you next to me, can't get enough. I don't wanna miss your energy. So tell me now, you're the one I've been dreaming about for my whole life. Had you on my mind, oh. Hear the sound of your voice in the crowd, calling my name, yeah, you captivate, oh. You captivate me, you captivate me, baby, baby. Ooh, it's almost too much to take. Baby, you captivate me. Ooh, with you's where I wanna stay. Baby, you captivate me. Tell me now, you're the one I've been dreaming about for my whole life. Had you on my mind, oh. Hear the sound of your voice in the crowd, calling my name, yeah, you captivate, oh.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our workshop Wednesday. We know it's earlier in the day than we normally do it, but we have an incredible guest with us. But before I bring up said incredible guest, I just want to again welcome you to our stream. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. You know how we always do. Drop your location. Let us know what space you are in tech. I don't know. Are you in engineering? Are you in data? Are you trying to do a mix of both? We definitely want to see all of that energy. Yeah, super excited. Just some housekeeping rules. If you could take a moment to go ahead and like this video. If you're not already subscribed, we definitely want you to go ahead and subscribe. I'm starting to see some folks pull up. I love that. Tell Lottie Dottie and everybody. Okay. I know that there's been some, how can I say, confusing communication. So please tell the rest of your scholars posting your channels that we are live. We are live. If you could be a superhero, if you could merge two superheroes into one, what two superheroes would those be? And tell me why. So I definitely want to just give some people more time to come in. And for those of you who are already here, let's go ahead and do this icebreaker. If you could merge two superheroes into one, what two superheroes would those be? Tell me why. And if you could come up with a name, that's bonus. If you can come up with a new name, that would be tea. So I guess I can go first. I would merge Storm with Wonder Woman. And it's very much given maybe Wonder Storm or Storm Wonder. You know what I'm saying? We got to get we got to get the how do you say the mix of powerful Black womanness with the cool poise of Wonder Woman together. Love that. Okay, so cool. So today is just going to be a really cool Q&A conversation with Janelle. I want you all to feel comfortable to begin asking your questions. If you have any specific questions, I know I have a couple of questions that I'll be leaning into myself, but definitely want to encourage you all to drop those below if you will. Okay. But I don't see any superheroes of yet, so I'm gonna just wait to see some superheroes. If you could merge two superheroes into one? Let's go ahead and do that. So, I do want to take some time to bring up our wonderful guest. Super incredible. I've been following her work for quite some time, and she's been doing incredible work in the health space. As you know, this month is optimizing RX or prescriptions, and wanting to just highlight the incredible individuals that are doing great work in health tech, or biotech, health tech slash biotech, as well. And of course, if for those of you who are interested in getting into this field, we definitely want to give you space to think about how you can lean in as well. So, super excited about Janelle. She is super incredible. And I want to definitely give some space to just introduce her before I do bring her up. So let's lean into that. Let's lean into that. Awesome. So, Janelle is a highly experienced data analyst with public health and informatics specialist as well, I believe. She has 17 plus years of extensive experience in data management, which is insane. I feel like you were probably a part of the, the earlier stages of data when it became a thing back in the Internet of Things and Internet, but moving along strong. So, yeah, she has 17 years of extensive experience in data management and analytics across various domains, obviously including healthcare. So, without further ado, welcome to the stage, Madam Janelle.
Hi guys, nice to meet everyone. Um, yeah, I've been following you, Chanel, for a long time. I think we met actually, um, one time. And
Really, when?
yeah, Black Panther.
Oh my gosh, was
Yeah,
that the bit? The Blacks in
yeah,
Technology?
yeah,
Oh, that's so amazing. Okay, so I guess to give people context, I used to be the president of Blacks in Technology NYC, and we used to partner with Disney to do like what do they call? I guess pre screens. And
yeah.
so screen right. Which version of Black Panther was that? Was that the first, second, or the third? Or they got so many.
The last one.
The last one. Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
So
Um, mhm.
I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and yeah, um, yeah. So
That's
as
amazing.
for me and my career, I've always had a passion for computer technology, not necessarily data. I was introduced to data in college, and then from there, I worked in healthcare for a hospital in the Bronx, New York, and then I went into higher ed for a long time, doing data analyst there, and then so now I'm with New York City Health Department, which is very interesting um, in terms of how we use data to solve the problems of New York City's health issues and what it entails. It's very interesting.
I think that's super cool. I love hearing about how you transitioned from higher ed now into the current space that you're in now. So, what was that like? Do you see or did you see any similarities between like how both institutions or spaces managed data, or was this like two completely different spaces?
It's very similar because once you understand the dynamics of data, it's more understanding the subject matter. So with higher ed, there's a lot of rules and regulations, but there's similar rules, regulation, privacy laws with healthcare too. So it's not too far from a stretch. It's just really understanding the security aspects, the HIPAA versus FERPA, which is really the same kind of law to
Oh,
protect subjects' privacy. And yeah, so I would say it's very similar.
that is so cool. Because I know for me, I would have never thought that they would. I mean, they would be similar, of course, but I didn't think it would be that close in similarity. But before we dive into all of the more technical questions and folks just wanting to know about applications and maybe tools and things like that, I would love to just learn a little bit more about your journey into data or just tech in general, right? From maybe college or even before college. How did you kind of get into this space?
Okay. So I will be showing my age. I'm actually 46 today.
Come on,
So
sis. Happy
thank you. Thank
birthday!
you. So but in the 80s, I had a IBM PC Junior with the floppy disk, and
I remember those
in
days.
order for me to play my computer games like Pac-Man and Lemonade Stand, you had to know the DOS commands.
Mm,
So it's weird that I learned DOS commands when I was 5, and I still use those commands now.
wow, that's so
So that kind of introduced me to that. Also, the fact that, to be completely transparent, I have cerebral palsy, so I have issues with fine motor skills. So my parents kind of pushed me into a career where I can use my intelligence more than my hands to get things done. So I would say it's a push for my parents, and also learning how to use DOS to get to my computer um, games when I was a kid.
wow, that is so incredible. First of all, I think that is a space where people may feel taboo to discuss or maybe to highlight, but I really appreciate you bringing and shining light on that as well, because I do believe that there is space for everyone,
Yes,
all ability types in technology.
yes.
So I really appreciate you being a champion of that and highlighting that in conversation today. And of course, obviously, we can lean into I'll talk more about the technical aspects, but because we're here, I would
Hmm.
love for you maybe to highlight a little bit about how you've leveraged this as a superpower versus as like a liability, if you will.
Sure. As a superpower, it gave me the strength to have endurance, of course, but also to emphasize what um my strengths are in terms of like my mind, educating myself, having empathy for others, which is very important in a work environment. So I would say, yeah, those are my superpowers.
Absolutely amazing. And again, just thank you for being so brave to share that. I think that's incredible. So, as you know, folks are here to ask some technical questions. We have a lot of folks in our community who are part of our Grow with Google programs and our Google Cloud program. Handful of those individuals are on the technical track, so data analytics, business intelligence, cybersecurity, some IT automation folks as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so a nice little mix. I guess I'll pause first and start here. What have you found over the course of X amount of years being in this industry? What kind of skills? And we can start first with the soft skills that you have found are most needed and beneficial to help with growing yourself in this career.
So I would say they would be communication is big, being able to do public speaking, being able to express yourself in a professional manner, um, writing skills, believe it or not, because there's a lot of, even though you do a lot of coding, there's a lot of um, instructions that go with it in terms of like explaining what you're writing, documentation. So that's very important. Yeah.
I love that. So you highlighted communication, obviously being able to publicly speak, but also relay and communicate in documentation. So in a text format, which is
Mhm.
really cool. How often do you find yourself leaning into the public speaking aspect versus the documentation aspect?
For me, because my on my team there's a lot of foreign people, and I'm a fluent native English speaker, I end up being the one that um perform a lot of trainings to the staff. I'm the one that also, when we have like a demo day, sometimes I'm the one that's chosen to do the demos because my English is good. So that's why I say public speaking. I feel compared to the others who um English is not their native language, they don't get pushed out
Mm.
forward more than the native ones.
Hmm. Very, very cool. Very cool. Now, on the technical side of things, obviously technology has transformed. In the span of 2 years, it transformed. So I can imagine how it's been over the course of 17. So, baby, give us the tea. What have you seen? What don't you see anymore? What do people like? What should we be forward focusing on? All the things.
So I say for in the data space,
Mm-hmm.
the two things that come to mind is SQL, and not just, select statements, but also the complex stuff like um, CTEs, subqueries. There's so much um, rankings. There's so much I feel you should know in terms of SQL and also Python because there's things that you can do in Python that you can't do in SQL and vice versa. Um, embrace AI because it's everywhere. So embrace it. In terms of, languages come and go. When I started, everybody was on Visual Basic, and you have to know Visual Basic. And nobody, and everybody was like, "Oh, Java's so hard." But if you know the fundamentals, like what things are, it's easy to flow from language to language. It's really easy, and you'll notice that the syntax is very similar when you're flowing from one language to another. So I would say knowing fundamentals in terms of what is a function, what is just simple stuff can go a long way, no matter what languages come and go throughout the years.
I'm on mute. Okay, wow. I think that is super cool. And I definitely have been noticing that SQL has been creeping up in a lot of roles as a prerequisite these days as well. So again, thinking about the journey of like how things have transformed from maybe 10 years, 20 years ago till now, I'm seeing that SQL is one of those like core languages that folks need you to lean into. Is that what, like, would you say that's the truth?
That's definitely the truth. But
Mhm.
it's not just because, before you could when I started, I felt old. But when I started, you could just know simple select statements and get a well-paying job. But
Mm,
now you need way more experience in terms of writing procedure code within the SQL statements,
mm.
whether it's depending on the database management system, whether it's PL SQL or T SQL, you need to know that.
That's really cool. So you mentioned CTE. What is CTE for those of us who are new in the room?
Oh, common table expressions.
Mm,
So it pretty much is um a faster way to do subqueries, I would say. Yeah.
very cool. And when you say subqueries, like, can you give us an example of what you mean by that as well?
A query within a query.
Oh, very cool. Would that be similar to that of like a nested for loop?
Yes.
Awesome. For those of you who are, I guess, like less technical from an engineering perspective, like you might have like a specific task happening, running, but within that task, you have like different things. So it could be if X, Y, and Z, then do this or do this or do this, that kind of thing. So, um,
Correct.
shout out to that as well. Okay. We have other questions coming in, so I'll take some time to highlight these here. Again, we want to invite everyone who's viewing to ask us questions. This is not going to be presentation; it's going to be live Q&A. So this is a session for the people, by the people. For the people, by the people. Okay. All right. First question from Chi Chi. How is it working in teams for large projects, and what are the tasks and responsibilities of team members?
Okay, so working with large projects, the main thing is communication and also not being feeling intimidated by working with a large group. So there's tons of times that I'm like, hey, this is an embarrassing question. And it really isn't an embarrassing question just because I didn't know it. There's like 10 people that didn't know the answer either. In terms of tasks and responsibilities, everyone is given tasks based on what's going on in the large projects. And sometimes whether you can perform it or not, like I said, being honest is the key. If you don't understand, it's okay to go to the person in charge of the project and like the project manager and being like, can we have a side meeting so that you could explain the task in more detail so that you can understand your responsibilities. So I would say, like I said before, as long as you're upfront with your communication, you'll get really far in tech.
That's a really great answer, and I can definitely underscore that, especially like when you begin working on large projects across time zones. Um,
Oh yeah,
Man, oh man, baby. Baby, making sure everybody is still in the loop from, meetings that they weren't a part of. It's, yeah,
yeah.
documentation and communication is super important. So I love that you just mentioned that. Next question from Thao. I hope I'm saying that correctly. How would you say someone that just how would you, okay, I guess this is more the question. What would be your advice for folks who are just starting or just beginning to get started with SQL?
So one thing that you guys have a huge advantage of that I did not have when I started was that you have YouTube. And there's so many resources. One resource that I love is free code camp. Um it started off as a web page and now there's tons of free YouTube videos. Back in my day I have a lot of books in my office. But yeah, just YouTube everything. I still use what is it called? W3 schools if I have a quick syntax issue
I love
that
them.
that I wanna just double check. But yeah, the internet is your friend. Embrace it. Embrace AI too. Sometimes I do have to go to ChatGPT if it's a specific situation and I don't have time to go through forums, but definitely embrace YouTube. Yeah.
Mm. I love that. You mentioned something, or I guess from this question, I just thought of a question. So
Hmm.
I'll come back to the chat in just a second. But again, I'm assuming with these large institutions and, of course, New York City health and hospitals, baby, this is a lot of data, a lot of people. So
Yes.
are you on the analytics side? Are you on the engineering side? Like, or do you do a little bit of both when it comes to like managing said data? Would love to learn a little bit more of that space.
Okay, let's go into that. So I'm more I got put on a project by proxy and now it's my baby.
Wow.
But it's called Sparks. And what it is a statewide planning and research cooperative system. It's managed by New York State. And what it is a system that collects all discharge information from hospitals, which includes, I'm reading it, it includes surgery centers, emergency departments, and now patient services. And in terms of the type of level of data, it collects patient characteristics, diagnosis, treatments, and payment information in terms of the type of payment and address information. And with that data, um, so basically, there's an ordinance where all medical institutions in New York State has to report their data to New York State. New York State then allows New York City access to that data, but we can only access New York City related records. So I take the New York State data, which is probably hundreds of millions of records, and I input it into a database, and then it query New York City related data, and then based on that, then I also help the researchers get the data that they need for the research, and it could be researching um, marijuana use in hospital in New York City. It could be newborn related illnesses. It could be how healthy New York City New Yorkers are um, in terms of like diabetes rates and so forth. So that is like my baby in terms of um, my main responsibility right now. There's other projects that I work on, but that's what I'm known for, is the Sparks data.
That's amazing. So I can imagine the work that it took to, again, organize the data, clean the data, store it in whether it's a lake, the data lakes and things like that. So what kind of, and I don't know if this is more like an internal thing you can't really say, but obviously there's a whole lot of different cloud tools. Cloud is huge right now. So managing that kind of data, I'm assuming you all leverage the cloud to do so. So like what cloud tools have you been leveraging and how has that made your life easier?
Well, we're not using cloud tools, unfortunately, because of security reasons.
Okay, true.
Um, so until we get that settled,
Mhm.
that's one thing. But that's one thing about dealing with government, is that there's a lot of bureaucracy. But I'm not um unfamiliar with it because I also dealt with a lot of bureaucracy in, in higher ed. So that's why I said there's a lot of similarities. In terms of um, right now we use SQL Server for that, but eventually we will be using Azure Data Lakes. New York City Department of Health is a Microsoft shop, so we only use Microsoft products.
That is super, super cool. So I guess we could jump back into other questions. I hope you all are finding this to be super cool. But we have a question from Sneha.
Mhm.
How can one get into healthcare analytics jobs or roles? As a recent grad, it feels like it's hard to find, or like I feel it's find of difficult, maybe kind of difficult to even find healthcare analytic roles. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. I mean, if New York City, Department of Health is hiring in that space, would love to hear that too.
We are hiring. We're always hiring.
Mhm.
Um, but in terms of how to get into healthcare, I would say this is what I did, and it worked for me. There are, like I said, YouTube is your friend. Embrace it. There are tons of YouTubers that have portfolios on different subjects. And if you want to get into healthcare, look for healthcare data. Look for those type of YouTube explanations where they talk about like how to create a dashboard and where to find the data. There's tons of public healthcare data out there. For me, at the time that I was looking for a job, it was during the COVID crisis, and I made a dashboard about COVID using public data. And I explained that to my manager at the time, and she loved it because she was like, "This is exactly what we need," and that's how it worked. So I would definitely say build a portfolio to show healthcare data. Choose a subject and build it. If you need help with that, I'm willing to give you resources, but there's tons of data out there.
I love that. And shout out to you also for underscoring the importance of projects. That's something that we have been discussing so much with our scholars. You know, it's one thing to have the learning and the skills and the certification, but it's another thing to show that you can apply it, especially to real world concepts. So being
Hmm.
able to expand your portfolio of projects is super important. I love that, and I hope that answered your question, Sneha. We have another question from Madam Cynthia. Okay, what role can analytics play in predicting disease outbreaks or identifying at risk populations before a crisis occurs? Good question.
Oh, that's a great question. Tons of roles because so with the spread data, it's basically past data for the previous years. So seeing symptoms, seeing getting vital statistics on patients based on the discharge information, and also getting the zip code. There's tons of GIS, um, like mapping that we do, and we use that to track over time. So we may track a particular, like for example, diabetes. We may track that for over 5 to 10 years because we have usually right now we have 10 years worth of data in that database. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we track things over time, and every year it's the same type of studies that they're looking at to see if an outbreak could happen. But sometimes, like COVID, it's something that we don't know about, but there's still people that can see what's going on. With the people that I work with are not just analysts, they're doctors, they're research scientists,
Yeah.
they're epidemiologists. Um, so these are people who, with us producing the data, they're able to interpret it, what
Wow.
we're producing.
That's incredible. I hope that answers your question, Cynthia. Um, mm, this is another good question. How important, Crystal
Hmm.
asked, how important is domain knowledge in health policy for your role?
I would say it's about 10% of my role. More technical. So really understanding the technical aspect because like I said, we work with world renowned doctors and epidemiologists that can really understand the study of diseases. So with their knowledge and our data, we work hand in hand together.
Very cool. I hope that answered your question, Crystal. Another question from Maya. For data analytics or data analysts on the job market, our portfolio projects seem to obviously be an important part of the application. What are some best practices that you recommend to impress maybe a hiring manager or other interviewers?
Great question. So I would say it's not necessarily it's it's a two-part thing. So you want to show your skills by having the portfolio, but also once you're presenting the portfolio in a job interview, you want to explain how that data relates to real world scenarios. So it's not just saying, oh, look at this graph going up and down. It's explaining why this graph is going up and down and what it represents and what it means.
Oh, I love that. So being able to communicate what your data is displaying or what the visuals are and how that is significant to, I guess, anyone who is either viewing that project and or maybe wanting to learn a little bit more. I love that.
Hmm.
Cool. There's another question from Dana. So are there standards or protocol for provider or that providers may need to follow when submitting info for databases that you analyze? And I guess the second part of the question is, what are upcoming changes that might affect your day to day?
Okay, so in terms of protocols and standards, with New York State data, it has to be your role and function has to be approved by the state. There's certain trainings that you have to go through in terms of HIPAA training, which is data privacy law. There's other trainings that you have to go through, and what are upcoming changes that might affect my day to day. So, like I explained earlier, we're in the process of moving to a cloud environment using Azure. And one of the reasons why we haven't moved is because of procedures and security reasons. So yeah, I would say it can affect your day to day, but you always have a workaround and keep it moving.
I love that. 10 out of 10. We had another question about like what is one thing you wish you did earlier in your career? I know you highlighted a couple earlier, but if you could mention one other one, that would be great.
I would say I really can't say because things change so much.
They do.
Like getting a degree was very important. Now it's not. Like, um, okay, one thing that I did that I definitely tell people to do, once you know your discipline, find an internship. So whether you are in high school, college, career switching, find internships. And there's so many ways that you can get internships now that and if you can't do an internship, volunteer and do a project for somebody. There's tons of nonprofits that need help with their data, and they're willing to take you on.
Absolutely. And we are definitely one of those nonprofits that would love your help, honey, with the massive amounts of data that we get. We love that. Shameless plug, but but I love that. That is a really great answer, and you're right. Like I think sometimes folks, and let me say this. Obviously, the job market is hard, and we understand. But I feel like there's so many opportunities for folks to turn what might feel like an opposition into something that helps them with the proposition, right? Help
Yes.
expose who you are. So, service is super huge. Volunteering is super huge. Back in my day, baby, we volunteering was a part of the culture. I don't know what's going on. The people just want to, you know what I mean? They just don't. What's going on, baby? You had to, you know what I'm saying? You had to serve a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
So 10 out of
You
10 for
give back. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have another question. I think you also kind of answered this, but maybe we can revisit this. But for folks who are looking to have reference books or maybe any kind of references, what are some good recommendations for SQL and analytics?
So I use, what's a good one that I didn't mention yet?
Mm,
You have to pay for it. And unfortunately, you know, I love free. Free is my thing. But I also understand that like not everything is free and people need. So one resource that I love is Data Camp.
mm,
Um when usually I'm also a bargain girl. So usually around Black Friday, they would have like 50% off a year annual subscription. I
mm.
would just get the annual subscription, and in between my day when things are kind of low for work, I would jump on and do a data camp training. You know, and that's how I kind of improve my skills also.
I
So
love
there's tons of books. The only thing with books that I think, if it's theory, they're great books, but if it's skill, I wouldn't invest in a book. I had tons of IT books that are out of date now because IT moves like crazy. So that's why I say Like if you're gonna invest, do like a training course. Data camp is great. What I say, YouTube, W3 schools, free data camp. I mean free camp. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I love that. I love that you mentioned like leveraging like seasons for discounts like Black Friday. I think that is a 10 out of 10 idea, and I love also that you underscore the importance of continuous learning. So on the job, when you notice that you have time and things are not as hectic, you're learning.
yeah,
I would love for you to lean in and talk a little bit more about how the importance of continuous learning mindset.
yeah. Because things I even though I've been on in the industry for 18 years, or I would say 17, 18 years. um Things change so fast.
Mhm.
So uh being in tune with what's going on, and then reading articles, like I said, looking at YouTubes, and just learning. It's so much to learn. For
Mhm.
example, one thing that I'm learning, I feel that I haven't mastered yet, was DBT,
Mhm.
which is a new tool. It probably came out a couple years ago, but I just learned about it a year ago, and it's just something that I'm using on the job, but I it's not like my strong point. So when I'm done with a project and I'm waiting for feedback, that may take a couple days, I'll jump on a YouTube or a project where on my own I'm learning DBT so that
Mm.
I can um master it.
I love that. I think that is so cool. We have time for two more questions, and then we're gonna pass the baton to Janelle for last words. But one question that Dominique mentioned, I thought this was a really good one. What kind of degree is most important for this kind of work? I guess for those looking to get into the health analytics or health data space, would you say a degree in data science or public health, epidemiology? What are your thoughts there?
The problem is I don't want you to limit yourself,
Hmm.
and I don't want you to say I don't want actually I would say none of the three. I would say either you could you could do something in computer science and then do like a certificate or minor in public health or epidemiology.
Mm.
But I don't want you to limit yourself to just healthcare. I don't want you to limit yourself to just higher ed or government or anything,
Mm.
business, anything, because you don't know where the future's going. So I would say get like a general comp sci information technology degree. And then if you want to do a certificate in public health or something, that would be helpful. But I wouldn't just get one degree in one of these disciplines and then you're limiting yourself for the
Mm.
future.
I think that is a really great answer. Dominique, I hope that answered your question. And then the last question from Sneha, what is a common mistake you see people making in this field?
I said it before, not being honest.
Mm.
Um, if you don't know something, you don't know something. And it's fine. But being honest is very important. Yeah.
Wow. 10 out of 10. I just dropped the mic on that one. That is good. Because a lot of people out here, you know, saying that they know stuff they don't know. Or if you are in the field and, you feel embarrassed to maybe, like, because everybody else knows it and you don't, this might be the first, they'll just act like it. So I love the fact that you just said that. And I also want to underscore that within my space as well. Honesty is so important. And what you can say is, I don't know, but let's find out together.
Exactly. Exactly. I think so I had my supervisor now, he came from Tableau.
Okay.
So everyone's like, ooh, Tableau, ooh, you should know everything or whatever. And we were in a coding session, and he was like, "Let's Google it." And I'm like, "Wait, you're Googling? I thought you know this." He's like, "What you think? I'm a genius?" No, I'm not a genius. Like, and we figured out the problem. So it's just a matter of being, like I said, honest. And once you're honest with people, I feel they're more willing to help you.
Absolutely. And I think it also builds like a culture of helping or influencing others to be honest as well. So I love that. So as we are going to wrap up, are there any last words that you would like to share? How can folks continue to connect with you and follow you, all the things?
So in terms of how to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Janelle Clarke Smith. That's the best way to connect with me.
Okay.
In terms of future advice, I would say believe in yourself, because I struggle with imposter syndrome like everybody else. But if you know that you know something, then no one can take it from you. So believe in yourself, and you'll definitely go far. And I wish you all the best of luck.
You're the best, Janelle. This was such an incredible session. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your thought
Yes.
leadership, and your honesty with us as well. Definitely want to encourage everyone to go ahead and use this link on the screen to go ahead and connect with Janelle. I know there was a boatload of other questions, so feel free to send them her way as well. And we invite you all to join us next week. Next week, this time it will be at 6 p.m. Same time, same place, or different time. Sorry, same place. But everyone have a great evening or rest of the day, I should say. For those of you who are in Africa and in different parts of the world, I know it's the evening time there. But yeah, Janelle, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. All right, bye everyone. Have a good one.
Think I've been here before. I know that I must have